you know, not all of you know, Ryan and I got engaged last July. So just over a year ago, we got engaged. And we were sick and tired of waiting to get married because we kept pushing it off. We didn't know what we wanted to do. COVID got in the way, blah, 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 blah. So we finally set the date and decided to just sign the papers in a 5-minute ceremony in November. So we're going to be tying the knot in November, really quick legal ceremony. And then we're going to have a bigger party next year with all the Indian traditions and all the guests next year. The reason I'm telling you this is because Ryan and I decided to write little secret vows for each other. So promises that we want to keep for our marriage. We don't want to say them in front of anybody or in the speeches. We want to, at the end of the night, we just want to say them secretly and privately to each other. So I've been working on those little secret vows, and it's quite intense. It's a very intense experience because it, you know, everybody knows, you know, marriage is a huge commitment, and in my life, it's the biggest commitment I've made so far, because you're sharing your life. That's it, done. You're sharing your entire life until you die now. So it's pretty intense, and I'm learning some cool things as I try to write these secret vows in a way that is real, like really real, not like fantasy, lovey, romantic, like real promises. So I'm sitting here and I'm trying to write these vows, ladies, and guess what I come up with? All I can come up with is promises of bad things. Promises of bad things. And what I mean by that is I promise that I'm going to make mistakes. I promise that I am going to be selfish sometimes and not realize it, right? All these things I can promise that will go wrong, and all my flaws, all my insecurities, I promise they will be there and they will interfere in our relationship and they'll just magically disappear. So I just come up with these bad promises. Like, I promise I'm not going to be perfect. I promise I'm going to let you down. I promise there's probably going to be a couple weeks, a couple months where we don't like each other. I promise that there's a lot of bad in our future. That's where my mind is going. And then the one good promise that I can come up with is that I promise that despite all of that, I will still show up. I will still try. Despite all of the unknown, all of the stuff that you know will go bad, all of our baggage, I will show up. I will keep trying. I will keep trying to not be so selfish. I will keep trying to learn from the mistakes that I make. That's it. I can guarantee a bunch of bad, and I don't know about the good, but I guarantee I'm not going anywhere. Despite the scariness of the unknown, because there's a lot of it, and it's heavy. I know that the grass is never greener. The grass is never greener on the other side. It isn't. Ryan is the best that it gets, and I'm the best that it gets for him. And we know that this is as good as it's going to get in a partner. It can't possibly get any better. And what's so cool is that Ryan and I have a similar mission in life. My mission is to just never stop growing, elevate myself. I won't die happy unless I've constantly pushed myself and grown. And he aligns with that. He's in the exact same path. We have a deep mission that is shared. That won't change. I'm sure we will change. I'm sure we will change. But that mission won't change. So despite the unknown, I'm still here. I'm still going to try. I'm still going to show up. And that's just the way that it's going to be. And I think that that's so cool. And the grass will never be greener despite occasionally contemplating it. Right? And a really cool perspective shift that I've had is it's not about choosing the right person, or it's not just about choosing the right person. It's about being the right person. Choosing the right person is 50%. If you don't show up and be the right person, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And I think that's so important. And I think it's so cool because when you go through times of struggle or heartache or challenges or you know, your routine is off, or you let yourself down, or someone else lets you down, you know, we keep thinking the person or the thing we chose was wrong. But are you showing up as the right person? And as I'm kind of going through this process and really contemplating what till death do us part really means, which I still can't fathom, what it really means, I see these beautiful parallels in marriage to your weight loss journey, your health journey, your become more confident and love yourself journey. It's the same thing. I can promise you, you're going to fail. I can promise you, you're going to want to get up or give up. I can promise you, you're going to think the grass is greener. I can promise you there was a lot of heartache along this journey. I can also promise you, if you don't give up, if you just keep trying, it will be the best thing you've ever done in your entire life. Hands down, no doubt, period. And it's the same thing. And then when you look at it like that, you have to think to yourself, you know, if we take marriage so serious that we write our own vows, that we say it in front of everybody, we make it legal, that it's so important, why is the relationship with ourselves not held to the same standard? Why don't you make a huge, bold commitment to yourself? Where are your vows to yourself? We don't have vows to ourselves. But how can we vow and promise to somebody else if we don't keep promises to ourselves? And I think that's really worth contemplating, ladies. This whole situation of writing these secret vows, it's just made me realize if we take that so serious, why are we skipping it with ourselves? Where are your vows? What do you promise? What are the bad promises that you can guarantee with yourself and along this journey? List them out, because what you can do is go look at them. You can use it as your guiding principle. You can use it as reassurance that, oh, I made this promise. I promised that I was going to fail. And what am I doing right now? I'm failing. Okay, I'm on the right track. You can use it as your guiding light, as a standard for how you behave, how you decide if you are on the right journey, if you are off track or not, and how you can measure your vows and your commitment to somebody else. Everybody. Life's not worth living without connection, right? What are you going to be so healthy for if you don't have someone to share it with? Friends, family, everybody. And I think if you've said vows to someone else, it's time to say vows to yourself. So I want to know, what would those vows be? What can you promise is going to happen along this journey? What can you promise is going to go wrong? And what can you promise can go right if you just keep going? And you say that to yourself. And you recite it again and again, and you use that to pull you back in the right direction and reassure you you're okay. You're where you need to be. Or what should you be doing? Or is what you're doing wrong? Is it right? Is it natural? We've never sat down and thought about it. And if you're somebody who gets discouraged very easily, if you're somebody who used to or currently suffers from a lot of self-guilt, if you're somebody who bangs their head against the wall when you do something wrong and can't figure out why, you know what to do but can't do it, if that's you, you need some guiding principles in your life that tell you that that's normal and that that is okay. So if you're upset, sad, angry, disappointed, or know that you have a tendency to fall into that when something doesn't go as planned, because marriage isn't really about the good times. That's the easy part. What's happening when shit hits the fan? Who are you in the trenches with? That goes for yourself. Who are you when shit hits the fan? Are you somebody you want to be in the trenches with? Are you somebody that you'd feel safe with? That you'd feel protected? That you'd feel in the right hands? And if the answer is no, you got to be more honest with yourself. And it's okay. And it's totally okay. And you can let go of this perfect image, because we over romanticize marriage and relationships. It's not a fairy tale. And love is not enough. Love is not enough. Otherwise, the divorce rate wouldn't be about 60%. Love is not enough. Who are you? It's not about choosing the right person. It's about being the right person. In or out of a relationship. Most importantly, the relationship with yourself. Are you being the right person, or are you blaming everyone and everything else for not going your way? Are you not showing up for yourself? Are you having a pity party? Are you convincing yourself that you're okay right now and you can coast, or something and someone else has to change, but not you? Are you forgetting how important your relationship with yourself is? Could it be better? Is it suffering? Is it great? You need to know. You need to get a pulse check. That's what we're doing this for. You're the only person you get to spend eternity with 24/7. 24/7. 24/7. You are talking to yourself like a crazy person. Right? The crazy conversations we have in our head. You got to like that person. And you got to feel safe with that person. And you got to know what you're in for. What are you promising to yourself on a deep level that going on this journey is for? Maybe you've done that before in the past. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you need to start, or maybe you need to remind yourself. Why did you do this? Why must you do this? Why is there no other option? And what are you expecting? What can you expect? I'm a super logical thinker. I really am. It bothers Ryan sometimes. He's emotional for a minute. I'm not. I can just see past it and be super logical. So I go right to bad is going to happen. Bad is going to happen. But it is worth it, and I am working through it. And I have laid out all the bad. Everything I could possibly contemplate in my head. Every weird scenario. I've laid it out in my head, and I'm okay. I know that I will survive. I will survive. And Ryan and I can get through anything. 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 Any mistake either of us make, any crazy uncontrollable thing that happens. We can get through it. And I can say that, and I can mean that. Because I'm prepared for what this brings. And I want you ladies to be prepared for what your journey brings. Your marriage with yourself. That comes first before anybody else, before you can fix any other relationship, if that's one of your goals along this journey as well. Improving another relationship by improving yourself. Focus on you. Seriously sit down and write your own damn vows for yourself. That is what I'm going to do first before I finish Ryan and I's secret vows. That's what I need to do. I need to be ready. I need to be prepared. I need to be expecting the unexpected as much as possible. And then I need to be okay with the unknown, because I've also promised that I will keep going. And that I will screw up. And that I won't be perfect. And that maybe I will be mean. Maybe I will be selfish. Maybe I will hurt somebody. But I'm always growing and I'm always learning. And I'm humble enough to realize that I don't know everything. I'm humble enough to take criticism and feedback, even if it stings in the moment, right? And for those of you who've been around for a while, that's what coaching is. Sometimes it's all hooray, hooray. Sometimes it's a slap in the face, right? Write that down. I promise that I'm going to get slapped in the face. I promise that I'm going to get defensive and not want to hear. That's the stuff you need to be realizing so you can catch it. So you can catch it and know that it's normal and move past it faster and be okay. And not just be okay, be great. Be great. Because you're keeping the promises you made with yourself. Because you took the time to actually make them. We all have this moral compass in our heads. That's always there. It always dictates our actions and dictates how we feel. We have this moral guide in our head. But write it out. It gives you so much more clarity and conviction with the decisions you make. If you knew every decision was the right decision, even if it was a bad decision, because you're going to learn from it, well, you're unstoppable. You are actually unstoppable. Because I don't care who you are, you're gonna fuck up bad. If you haven't already, you're gonna really screw up. But if you promised that you would, and then you also promised you're gonna get defensive about it, and you're gonna get butt hurt about it, then you can accept that and move on from it. That's what this is, long-term game. Long-term game, right? And silly promises too, silly promises. But you know yourself. You've lived in your body long enough to know who you are, or at least who you are right now. It is fluid, but it doesn't matter who you are, because that can change. But what won't change is the mistakes that you make and the non-linear journey you're going to be on, the ups and downs. You cannot get rid of the ups and downs. You can try, but they're always going to be there. So what I want you to do, ladies, and I want you to take this very serious, it is eye-opening, and it is like a breath of fresh air, like somebody's was sitting on your chest and finally got off. Write vows to yourself. Till death do you part. You can't divorce yourself. That won't work. So sit down, make promises. What do you promise over your lifetime? Because I know I'm going to screw up. I'm not going to pretend. And screwing up, knowing that I will, it allows me to be a lot more forgiving when other people do as well. Because I know it's only a matter of time till I do something. It's mercy, it's humility, it's forgiveness. If you can't do that to yourself, it's going to be a really tough life. If you can't forgive yourself, if you can't, humble yourself, if you can't do that to yourself, you're going to have a real hard time accepting who you are. And you're going to be keeping yourself busy and distracting yourself. You won't want to spend time alone with yourself. Right? I catch myself watching TV and scrolling on my phone, and my computer's going, my laptop's going. You catch yourself, you're like, why can't I just be alone with myself? It's practice. To some degree, we don't like ourselves. There's some aspect we are not proud of, we're not happy with, we're not finished with. It's a work in progress. But you have to know that that part of you is okay in order to accept the journey to fix it. We can't hide from it. We can't pretend it's not as bad as it is. We can't have it float around and not be able to name it or put a finger on it what it is. So seriously, sit down. Write your own vows to yourself. What do you promise in this lifetime of growth and heartache and wonderful things and bad things and weight loss and health and strength? What do you promise to yourself? And then live by that and be okay with that and take it serious. Take it serious. You would never be mean to your best friend, but you are mean to yourself. You gotta let it go. Or you gotta first start to accept it, and then you can let it go. Big revelation I had. All from just wanting to sign a quick little paper, but it's huge. So ladies, I want to know what your revelations are. What are your revelations from this call? What is a promise that needs to be said out loud, that needs to be written down for you? Think of one right now. What's one vow that you make to yourself? I promise I'm going to suck. I promise I'm going to go backwards. I promise I'm going to make excuses. I promise I'm going to blame somebody else. Look at it. Write it down. You can identify it faster. You can love yourself because of it. And then you can just grow. That's what we're missing. If you want quick forgiveness of yourself, if you want quick growth or faster growth or more in-depth, profound growth, you have to look at the entire journey. So, everybody should be thinking about their vows to themselves. That is my little homework to you. All right, don't take it lightly. You can take your time with it. I would say give it a week because you're going to have a couple little things pop up. Have a notepad on your bathroom mirror or create a note in your phone with it. Seriously, sit down and be like, what am I expecting here for the rest of my life? What am I actually expecting? Because especially when it comes to your weight loss, we think short term. We think the next 5 pounds, the next 10 pounds, or when I hit that goal number. And then we don't have much past that. And then if we don't hit that goal, we haven't experienced what happens when we don't. And you haven't set yourself up or talked about or made vows to yourself about what happens along the way. So everything seems wrong when it's not going right. When really, everything that goes wrong is completely right. It's your journey. But you got to make the vows. You got to know that it's coming. And I think it's so beautiful. So that's your homework.